what they do, but yeah, one of their main focuses, yes,
Yeah.
but she didn't do all just that. Yeah, and then she's got one attached lined up, which is going to come.
Great.
Think of that.
She deserves it. She is awesome.
Still determined, yeah, not sure yet. He's done some immigration law, talked about taking a federal tax class coming up, maybe we'll do that, I don't know. Trying to decide.
That's great.
Appreciate you talking to her.
She's a special. She's somebody who you could stick anywhere and she does a great job. You can just tell.
Yeah. She says she does want to do transactions. She want to do economic development or development law or anything like that.
Smile.
Yeah.
Just to be on. You know, like 25 minutes away.
Yeah.
It's really like, it's like,
I was surprised with the election in Boone County. I don't think there was anything close to it.
The only surprise was that my mom went, she voted in Ryle. We live in unincorporated Boone County. And she got a ballot to be a signature.
Oh, did she really?
Yeah.
Huh.
That's the one. Did you vote for? That and the marijuana. It's on there.
All right, I'd like to welcome everybody to the November 25th edition of Rotary. Here to do the prayer pledge and four-way test. Greg Palmer.
Great day to be a Rotarian.
That it is.
I'm gonna steal the lectern since I'm standing here. When I joined Rotary in 2002, nobody asked me how much money I had. Or if I had an important job, or was I Protestant or Jewish or Hindu, because all of those things are welcome and represented in Rotary. The only thing someone asked me was, do you have a heart for service? Do you think that your individual efforts, no matter how small, can make this world a better place? And I believed it then, and I know it's true today. When we add our efforts to the 1.2 million Rotarians around the world, we do make this a better world. And so I want to say thank you for your efforts there. With that in mind, bow your heads, please. As we gather today as members of Rotary, we pray that we are ever mindful of opportunities to render our service to fellow citizens and to our community, keeping in mind always the enduring values of life, exerting our efforts in those areas and on those things upon which future generations can build with confidence. Let us continue to strive to make a better world. Amen. Amen. Pledge of Allegiance.
United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And the four-way test of the things we think, say, and do. First, is it true? Is it fair?
All concerned will build goodwill, better friendships, will be beneficial to all.
Thank you.
Thank you, Greg. Bob, any updates? Greg?
An update.
Yeah.
Well, my other team member, Billy, showed up. We are Team 5, and we will take any volunteer help that you want to give us. Mostly in the past, we have helped sponsor grants, written grants to be part of a worldwide grant program. We haven't had success in that in a long time. But Billy and I are the ones in the club that are most familiar with that. And we'd love to get started on another one. We also are kind of in charge of the foundation giving every year. When we do the Paul Harris night, once every 12, 15, 18 months. We haven't been real diligent there. Billy and I will be in charge of putting that together. And we want to do that again soon. November is Foundation Month in the Rotary calendar. So I just remind you that if you have not made your annual contribution to the foundation, this would be a great time to do it. You've heard me say it before, when you give to the sheriff fund, half of that money comes back to our district in 3 years. And it's that money that we use to give out district grants, and our club has been a great beneficiary of those district grants. So giving to the foundation gives to us. Thank you.
Thank you, Greg. All right, dues are due. So please, we got 2 more meetings left, including the 16th. So we have a short time before we're going to have to terminate some folks. John, Sergeant at Arms.
Ian, how are you?
Doing well.
Good, good. Great weekend. No Bengals lost this weekend. Fantastic. And the Reds had big news too. We are a house of five. My wife and grandsons love Jonathan India. Jonathan has been shipped away. So I think my wife liked him because of the way he played baseball, and my grandkids like him because of his hair. Or vice versa. I'm not quite sure. But he is no longer with us, and that's a shame. So we're pretty much on to college basketball around here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when the white smoke came out of Lexington and we had a new pope, happy about that. So we're playing team basketball like we were all taught when high top Converse were worn by basketball players alone, and not every kid that you see in America. But we're really good for Chuck Taylor and what he did for everybody. So that's a good thing. We have a few visitors today, and I'm a little confused on which ones I should announce here. So I'm going to ask for input.
All right.
I'm not too shy. So these are all part of the program.
Well, maybe take care of that one.
Go take care of that one. Danny Kaburki, I never met.
Yeah, right.
Thank everybody else. You can, yeah, go ahead.
All right. So then what we do here at Rotary, we'd love for you to come to our meetings and attend, and I ask you to stand and you tell me a little bit about what you're doing. How about Sarah Young? Sarah, can you tell us what you do? And welcome to the Florence Rotary.
Hello. My name is Sarah Young. I see some familiar faces. I was here last year as well. I'm with Gateway Community and Technical College. I handle the student emergency fund there, and you all are so gracious to donate to that. So we'll speak a little bit about that today.
Welcome, Sarah. Tierra Hill. Welcome, Tierra. Tell us what you're all about.
My name's Sierra. I go to Gateway. Sarah and I was able to use the Success Fund to get into the summer.
Well, Tess Burns. Tess Burns, welcome.
Hey, everybody, I'm Tess Burns, Vice President of Advancement and a proud Gateway grad, and I'm excited to share today our generosity and the impact that you have helped students through. So excited to
Welcome, Tess. And we have Beth and Don Barker. Adam, would you like to talk about Beth and Don Barker for a minute?
Sure. So today we're going to be hearing about the Salyers Hand Up grants. And Beth is the daughter of John and Connie Salyers. She's a teacher, and she's here with us today. Looking forward to hearing some things that are not a teacher. Just kidding. Anyway, she's here today. She doesn't look so good. She's probably sick or something. I don't know. Anyway, this is John and Connie's oldest, and Don is also an educator and is joining us today in order to honor John and Connie. So
I actually don't have school today, so.
So anyway, we'll
There you go, Don. John is such a stickler for the rules. I'm glad you're not changing. So, big day for us. John Salyers is a big part of our club. We miss him dearly, as I'm sure you do as well. And his wife is his much better half. His wife Connie taught my sons. Amen. I say to you. His wife Connie taught my sons, and they loved her. And she volunteered for academic team and anything after school and all that sort of thing. But one of my favorite John Salyers story is that I tell folks he was a high school umpire when I was playing baseball in high school, and he and another guy named Doc Morris worked for the Department of Transportation. Doc was one of those guys. He had extra seed and extra line and all kinds of things that he'd walk around to the different. Don't know how he got the extra seed and the extra stuff, but working for the Department of Transportation. But he would put that on the various fields and made us all have nicer fields than we had before. And it was usually a tag team of Doc Morris and John Salyers on the baseball game. So, one of my favorites was, John had stolen this line from Doc Morris. So I was a catcher, and so John and I got to know each other pretty well as he was home plate umpire. He was usually wrong about 90% of the time. But I should speak ill, but yeah. But anyway, John, wonderful. He had a guy, we had a guy struck out and strike three. And the kid just stood there and he looked at John and he looked around and he took away. And John said, wait a minute, Doc taught me this. John pulls out his rule book. He looks at it and goes, yeah, same as last year, 3 and you're out. That's all I got.
Then a good friend of the club, Dan Taberky, had brought a young man along with him. I was gonna make a Notre Dame joke, but I saw your size and was like, okay, I'll never. Anyway, Gabe, come on up, sir.
Let me do a little quick introduction real quick. Dan Taberky, basically here to introduce, I'm the field force representative for West Point. So I help students become cadets at West Point on a volunteer basis. You all might have known Joe DeRacy. He did this for 21 years. And it's my pleasure to be able to help Gabe as he comes back to this region. He's from Ryle High School. And so we're setting up various visits. We've been to the Florence Business Council with a previous cadet, and we've been to high schools today. He's going to be going to a couple tomorrow. But in essence, I'll be passing out some materials. You get to hear it straight from Gabe about what it's like to be a cadet at West Point. My affiliation with this group is that our son got a chance to do this a few years ago when he was going through West Point, and he was impressed with his reception at that time. And hopefully, I'm sure you guys will give Gabe a good reception and ask him questions. Let him know, test him here a little bit about what it's like to be at there, because we want you to be emissaries and ambassadors as you go out and talk to those that are aspiring cadets to get to our military academy. And we do support those that go to Air Force and Navy somewhat, but we'd rather go to West Point.
So I'm Gabe Savage, Ryle High School grad. I'm a junior at West Point right now, civil engineering major. I'm also on the rugby team at West Point. Only lost was to Navy, unfortunately, but looking good for the spring semester when our playoffs start. So yeah, I'm just here to answer any questions. West Point's a 4-year university, up in an hour north of New York City. So after we graduate from West Point, we become an officer in the U.S. Army. I have to serve like a 5-year commitment after that, but it's completely paid for the college. It's like normal university, you get a normal degree, but then you do summer trainings every single summer, starting from like our basic training, we call it Beast. And then each summer you do like another culminative summer training to basically build your leadership skills, like your military aptitude. This summer I actually got the privilege to do a training called CLDT, and the platoon mentor, who was an officer who kind of guides us, is actually Mr. Taberky's son, Louis Taberky, Captain Taberky at the time. So he kind of like helped me do like a 10-day field exercise, learn how to like conduct ambushes, raids, patrol bases. You got like 3 hours of sleep every night, but it's a lot of fun. So I'm here to answer any questions about West Point.
So what percentage after you graduate and you can launch your Army job, what percentage stay stateside versus go overseas? Roughly.
I mean, there's only a couple posts that are like Akonis, which is outside in the United States. So there's a post in Italy, Germany, Korea, and then there's like Alaska, Hawaii, all of that really counts. But all the in the continental US, I'd say it's probably like, but mostly are inside.
It's a beautiful campus.
So sorry,
Up there. I'm working here.
the Hudson Valley, that area. There's not a lot like right outside of West Point, but we got the nature's nice. Yes, sir.
You say you play rugby, right?
Yes, sir.
Now, there's been a change with the NCAA and with the military division. I don't think a lot of people knew this, but, and it doesn't come into play too much with rugby, but with football or basketball. In the past, if a player excelled in one of those sports, they had to serve their military right after college. Now they can go into the pros, have their pro career, and then serve the military. Because I know when I was representing some players baseball, I had a couple guys that were in the military and they had to go. That has been changed now, and I think the Reds even have one in their farm system from RBL that is playing ball right now. But when he's finished, Roger Staubach, an All-American local guy, played at Navy, but went to the Dallas Cowboys. He had to go. I thought it was 6 years, but you're saying it's 4 years.
It's 5 years.
5 years. 5 years. So he had to serve that before he could start his professional career. And as a pro, age is a big factor. And so I think it's really good for the military to be able to do that now, to attract more people who will eventually serve, but they can go ahead and have their professional careers.
Yes, sir. Like Alejandro Villanueva, he's like a Steelers player for a long time and on the Ravens. He was a West Point grad.
Right.
Went to like the Ranger Reds shirt 5 years before even going into the NFL. Yeah. But now with this new change, there's like Andre Carter was a big football player at Army, and then Bo Richter for Air Force this year. They're both in the Vikings now, and I'm a big Vikings fan. So it's cool seeing them do well. I think Bo Richter just recovered like a punt muff last week against or yesterday against the Bears.
What happened with that Notre Dame game, Sarah?
You just know all the athletes they do. Like they have like 5 athletes, which we don't. But
So as a young man at Ryle, what made you so attracted to West Point?
well, my dad was also a grad for West Point, class of '97. So I always had like kind of influence to go to West Point. I went to his like class reunions every couple of years and went up there, saw how beautiful the campus was. But also just like the opportunity that it gives, people the opportunity to like, for one, get a free college or like a prestigious, institution, but also to like get the opportunity to like lead America's sons and daughters in the future and like just build that like leadership experience that'll help me like in the military and then, afterward. As well.
So as far as civil engineering, are you looking at particular types of that, roads, bridges, or?
Yeah, there's road scholarship that I could apply for. I'm not really sure. I think I just want to serve like right after West Point, go into the Army, do some combat engineering, where you work with like demolitions and everything like that, and then I can go to grad school later. But yeah, right now I'm like kind of focusing on structural engineering. I think is focused on.
Okay.
Thank you, David.
All right.
All right, we do have 3 directors for the Rotary Board that are coming due that will need reappointment or new appointments. So anybody that is interested in potentially deepening their involvement in Rotary, this is a great way to do it. The Steinfeld Toy Drive is underway, and the collection is going to happen the week, I guess, December 9th and 9th through 11th. Gary, thank you for your service in doing that. Save the date, we got Rotary Leadership Institute down in Lexington, which is a great program. Like Will has been through it, all 3 phases, so this will be phase 1. Birthdays and anniversaries. Gary Greiser and Dennis McAvoy, 40 and 41 years.
Is that birthday or anniversary?
Happy dollars. Anybody got any happy dollars? I got one.
I have one.
Good, George.
So, my daughter, goes to University of Kentucky, and Friday night she was in a car accident. She was T-boned. Luckily, both her and her friend walked away from it, and she's home now. So I'm just ecstatic that she was not hurt.
Yeah, that's great. I got a couple in.
All right.
Finally got a shot that worked in my nervous system, so I'm walking mainly without pain. That's one good one.
Right.
Yeah, then a deer in the freezer. A deer in the freezer.
But I'm glad you're getting something for Adam Howard, because he's terrible.
Somebody's gotta feed all the kids.
All right, and I've got one, many of you know, my wife is a Tuist. And so this weekend was farm weekend at the Tuist farm. And I was in the freezer this weekend. And now that the weekend is over, that has passed me. So, all right, Dwayne,
Thank
Okay.
shows yours here.
Okay, hold on, I gotta do one quick switch here, Dwayne.
Over that today. So I've been involved with Rotary for 26 years. And it's been amazing what we've accomplished within the last year and 24 months. Rotary gives you an unbelievable podium to step out on to accomplish your goals. And I don't know if you guys read Rotary International much. Months ago, there was a fellow from India. One of their big things in India is they don't do transplants. So he's going through the whole country telling the benefits of doing transplants, how it saves lives. Last month's issue, there was a woman on the front and she talked about forced marriages. And she's kind of Middle Eastern descent. And I'm thinking, oh, no, that's in the United States. There's 300,000 forced marriages that happen within the United States each year. I've been involved with a lot of different things. And, you know, it's interesting, the things that we've accomplished in our Florence Rotary. And I look back at just the Steinford Toy Foundation. Somebody had an idea back in 1935, the Steinford family, hey, we want to give toys to kids during the Great Depression that haven't had toys. And it was primarily Kenton County. And I had to believe you were the one that initiated it, bringing it here to Boone County. Mm-hmm. So in Boone County, there's going to be over, what did we raise? 44,000, 5,000 toys throughout the community. So we're able to distribute those. So the kids are going to have a great Christmas. And I don't know about everybody else, but this project Heart Restart has just been absolutely amazing. To think that a guy, Josh, stands on the Rotary podium and says, hey, we need to put an AED in every cop car. it explodes over in Cincinnati. Hey, we need to bring that to Northern Kentucky. We're gonna raise over $336,000 and to buy AEDs. And to think that we already got a text saying that the police officer in Alexandria already used one of the AEDs and saved somebody's life. So John, everybody knows John. In this picture here, how would you describe him? Kind of a cantankerous, yes, no type of fellow, no nonsense type of fellow. But this picture here sums up Rotary right here. So John was in Africa and he's administering the polio vaccine to this young boy. And just the intensity of John giving this vaccine and the love, you can just see it. Just administering the vaccine.
The stern face and the gentle crinkling of the head.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yes.
The fact that he's calm.
Yeah.
The fact, what was that?
The fact that he's calm.
Oh, absolutely, yes.
If he was here, that picture would make him cry.
Absolutely. And I will remember to this day, John, like I said, always that tough type of fellow. When he came back from Africa and was telling the story, John couldn't make it through.
Yep.
I mean, that was
Yeah, I
not
remember.
John's personality to, and for him to tell that story was absolutely incredible. So today we celebrate John and his family. And I'd like to introduce Adam Howard. Adam and I, it's amazing how we've crossed paths over the years. And I didn't really realize how much John meant to you. And so they both, you work for Bunning?
No, John worked for Bunning and I worked for Senator McConnell.
Yes. So they shared a lot of windshield time together. And Adam was like, you know, John became a father figure to me. So Adam. Yeah.
So
Should we flop around the house?
So let's see, so 2004, I went to work for Senator McConnell. My job was to represent the senator throughout Northern Kentucky. Anywhere in Northern Kentucky, as the Senate defines it, is between Carrollton all the way to Ashland, including Boone, Kent, and Campbell, about 21 counties. There was a group of us, it was the, I'm trying to remember, I think it was the Fletcher, Governor Fletcher, Congressman Davis, Senator Bunning, and Senator McConnell, and the four of us, the four field reps on behalf of all of those elected officials would get together for breakfast. I was the McConnell guy, John was the Bunning guy. There was naturally just a little bit of friction between the two of us. And I can remember very distinctly, it was at Cracker Barrel here in Florence. I mean, John just rubbed me one side up and down the other all the time, just ran over me all the time. But one day at breakfast, he said, Adam, he said, you're okay. And I was like, why is that? And he says, because you went to school with my daughter, Meredith. I had never put together this kind and sweetheart person, Meredith Salyers, daughter. But thank God for that, because that was the only thing that got him off of my you-know-what. So we traveled up and down the AA highway, and he showed me everywhere to get a good meal all along the AA highway. Lots and lots, and you did not want to be in the car with him after the bean soup at Blue Ridge State Park. John's daughter, Beth, is here with us, and Beth and I have become friends because our kids have been in the Ryle band together. So the funny thing is, Connie always accused me of being one of her students at Ackerman. She always, I don't know whether to say she wanted to take credit or she just thought that I was in her classroom. I kept saying, no, darn, I went to St. Paul's, I didn't go to Ackerman. But nevertheless, Connie and I got to be friends as well. I invited John to Rotary probably around 2000. I'm not sure when he joined, but probably around 2005, maybe 2006. I'm not sure exactly when, but I made a mistake and John never let me forget it. I invited him to Rotary, but I did not invite him to become a Rotarian. Somebody else in the club invited him to become a Rotarian. And sure enough, a number of years later, he became a Rotarian. He became our club president. He became the district governor, and he went on to do a lot of great things. So if you invite somebody to come to Rotary, please, for the love of God, invite them to become a Rotarian. Some guy like me is going to have to hear it over and over again. So I got to consult my notes here real quick. Both couple of things. Number one, John, whenever he would take me around in the not the Crown Vic, but the Green Grand Marquis. Man, stories. Anyway, one day we had to kill a little bit of time. We were driving all over Grant County, and he was telling me all kinds of different stories about the places that he had been to in Grant County where he grew up. And it seemed like there was a theme that was emerging of kind of like a pull yourself up by the bootstraps kind of a person. And John was very service oriented from his service in the military, his service as a police officer, and then his service working on behalf of first Congressman Bunning and then Senator Bunning. Connie was the same. Connie was also somebody who would dive in through her career as a teacher. Connie was also somebody who helped a lot of young women turn their lives around through some of her volunteer efforts. So the two of them were constantly serving others, trying to help lift up their fellow man. We lost both John and Connie in 2020. I was honored to serve as a pallbearer at John's funeral, and I remember seeing Connie there. It was the last time that I ever saw her. And when probably 2021 or 22, I think it was, probably 2021, we got notified at the Florence Rotary Foundation that the Salyers family had made a gift to the Rotary Foundation. They didn't give any real stipulations. They just provided the gift to the foundation. And so at that moment, the decision was made that we need to do something more than just simply take this contribution and divide it up amongst the different efforts. We wanted to try to do something that would preserve that legacy. Through a variety of conversations with a host of different Rotarians, we were able to generate enough money to then create an endowment. Now, this is something funny. When we were traveling, remember, we worked for the federal senators. We worked for Senator McConnell and Senator Bunning. And it really rubbed John raw whenever there would be a state official at a ribbon cutting taking credit for the federal dollars that John's boss or my boss had appropriated. So flash forward to 2022, when we have the money from the Florence Rotary Club, and it was matched with federal dollars in order to create this endowment. I'm pretty sure that would make John happy, but not entirely convinced. Nevertheless, there was a generosity from a variety of Florence Rotarians, and the money was given as a gift to Gateway, which inherently has a student population that are looking to pull themselves up from the bootstraps. You can see where this is going. And it was created as the Salyers Hand Up Grant, the John and Connie Salyers Hand Up Grant. And it was intended, if there is an issue where there is a student that has some kind of a need, a financial need, it's not necessarily related to tuition, it could be, but more so a need that is something that is keeping them from continuing their education. So it serves both John's thoughts in terms of pulling yourself up from the bootstraps, Connie's desires to continue education. And so that's what why we created the Hand Up Grant. Also, the name HUG, you got a hug out of it. So it's kind of a way to John and Connie. I'm pretty sure that I've used all of my time, and I'll turn it back over to you to introduce Gateway. Thank you.
Well, it's interesting when you have a goal in Rotary. When I was president, I had 6 goals and I had 5 reach goals. And reach goals are goals that you have that, man, I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to get there. And I always wanted to put a program together. We give away 8 $1,000 scholarships. Why don't we do something more for college students that need a hand up? So I've got this vision and I'm like, how am I going to get there? And all of a sudden we get the grant for 10,000. Then Rotary puts up some money. then I met with Adriana, or Adam met with Adriana, and she's like, hey, we got this federal grant. If you guys can come up with $30,000, we can match that. So that's what put everything in motion. And, then Adam was very instrumental in getting the fundraisers to push us over on top of that. So with that, Tess, I would like to introduce you. It's interesting. She's a first-year generation college student or graduate. And she said she always wanted to come back to Gateway. So welcome.
Thank you for having me today. I have two favorite things to do. One is attend Gateway's graduation, which is like our Super Bowl. It's the best day of the year. And the second is to thank our generous donors. So I want to thank everyone here that has contributed to this gift. So thank you to Florence Rotary Club and to the family of John and Connie Salyers for the Hand Up Fund. So at Gateway, I'm going to tell you, our students are some of the most hardworking, determined people you will ever meet. Talk about pull yourself up by the bootstraps. That defines us and who we are. I know that firsthand because I was a first generation college student that graduated from Gateway in 2006. And it's an honor to be back and to serve students in this capacity now. So the fund, it gives me chills of what this helps do. This fund helps students with rent, with transportation, with gas, with even food insecurity that could cause them to drop out of college or make some very difficult decisions, become homeless, or even go to a class hungry. And so this fund really helps as a support system to get students to the finish line. The most interesting thing is that a lot of these students don't have support systems. Some do, some don't, but a majority do not have support systems like we had. So when you pull yourself up by the bootstraps, you may have family that help you or people that you could, borrow some gas from or do these different things. And for a lot of our students, they don't have that. And you can help their support system. They don't feel so alone because they know that there is help to pair with their determination to get to the end. And if you could just see graduation, it is unbelievable to see what these students have overcome. And you're a huge part of that. The Hand Up Fund helps multiple students, not just one, every year with a spinoff from the Endowment. And so it continues to make a difference each year. I'd like to introduce Sarah Young, who is Gateway's Community Resource Coordinator, and she helps find the students with the most need that this vital support can help with. And I want to thank you all again. It truly is a lifeline to many students. Thank you for your generosity. Thank you, Betty.
Hello, everyone. I oversee student resources, the food pantry, and the Student Success Emergency Fund. I am so glad to be back and speak with you all today. First, I will tell you a little bit about our emergency fund that we have. Our fund is a last resort for many students. So all community resources have been exhausted and they don't have funds, so they actually see me. We track students' academic progress along with their attendance to ensure that they are active in their classes. Not only do we connect them to those community partners, we also have the student meet with our career services department. We have a program called Handshake, which is kind of like Indeed, but for college students, where they can search for jobs and post their resume. They can also practice interviewing skills, and they will take a look at the resume and get that in shape for them. And that will help them look for a higher paying job or a job in general. In addition to that, we connect them with Brighton Center, where they meet with a financial coach and go over things like budgeting and creating a rainy day fund. While we try to be preventative with our students and offer budgeting workshops and similar things like that, we know that life happens. I would now like to introduce you to our fantastic student that would like to speak with you on her experience that tapping into this service does. There's Tiara Hill.
Everyone, my name is Tiara, and I'm currently studying nursing at Gateway. I'm a single teen mom to an 18-year-old boy who is my constant source of motivation and strength. I chose Gateway because of the excellent nursing program, the supportive community it offers, and the affordable tuition. As a young mother, I needed a school to understand my unique challenges and provide me resources to help me succeed without breaking the bank. Gateway has been that place for me. Trying to balance my studies and daily life is not easy. Between being a full-time student and being able to study and take care of my sons, my days are incredibly full. There are times where I feel overwhelmed, but my passion for nursing and wanting a better future for me and my son keeps me going. This grant has been tremendous help in easing my burden. Thanks to this grant, I was able to secure my first apartment at the Scholar House. This has provided me with stable and supportive environment where I can focus on my studies and take advantage of educational support offered by the Scholar House and both Gateway. Being a student at Gateway has been a life-changing experience. The faculty and staff are always incredibly supportive, and the community is like a second family. I have learned so much, and not just academically, but also about staying strong and never giving up. To anyone facing similar challenges, I want to say it's possible to achieve your dreams, no matter how difficult the journey is. With the right support and determination, you can overcome any obstacles. Thank you everyone for listening to my story and supporting students like me. Your generosity makes the world a difference.
Thank you. I want to close with everybody. I hope everybody had a chance to be at the meeting last week. Hassan Davis was absolutely incredible. And it's interesting, his terminology that he used was hope dealers. Think about that. We're all hope dealers. And he broke it down into humanity, optimism, perspective, and empathy. And we all have the opportunity to help others find their greater self. And I want to close with his quote. And I thought this was absolutely incredible. Hope is a seed planted in rocky soil. Without knowing how deep its roots will reach or how much fruit it will feed, but we must prepare, plant, and see. My fellow Rotarians, thank you. This was a great meeting.
All right, so next week we will be off to give everyone an extended Thanksgiving holiday weekend. Happy Thanksgiving, by the way, to everyone. So in 2 weeks, December 9th, we'll have Christopher Sanders from Everyone Counts as our speaker. And in the meantime, have lunch with a Rotarian.
Get a picture of Gabe up there.